Well, hey now, it's the Rob from 106.1 Kiss FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting, Ramblin' Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning, Rob, and how are we doing today?
Doing okay. Doing okay. How are you doing?
Happy Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Right back at you, my friend.
Right. I've always been a fan of Dr. Geisel, even though he's not a real doctor. I have a confession. It's not really a confession because it was out of my hand. We're going to talk about SmackDown Live a little bit. I sat down to watch it last night, and my power went out. We have had windstorms like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
It was the kind of wind that makes you question the structural integrity of your home.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Having that.
It just shows that you guys get the weather the day after we do. We had tornadoes here just last night. Hey,
yeah, it was bad news. So I didn't see SmackDown Live. I saw like the first 3 minutes of it.
Before we move on to SmackDown, I have a important question for you regarding next week.
Yes.
Are you wanting me to find fill-in hosts, or are you wanting to Skype in? I'm leaving it up to you. Whatever you want to do.
I would love to Skype in. However, Monday morning, at the time that we would be doing this, I will be driving from Fort Myers to Orlando with my family to Disney World.
Okay.
So I won't be able to do it.
Monday. And even later Monday wouldn't work either then, would it?
No, because we'd be at Disney,
Yeah,
and Kelly would kill me. So unfortunately, I can't. What I can do is I can, if you just want like a quick, like, what did I think of the show or something like that, I can send you that kind of stuff. But I can't be on with you, unfortunately, which bums me out because this is a big show. I think there's a lot of big repercussions, and I think there'll be a lot to talk about on Monday.
What about right after the show on Sunday night? Again, I know you're on vacation. Feel free. I even feel bad asking.
I would say yes. I'll have to see, because if everybody's asleep and I would run the risk of waking them, I don't want to do that, especially since we've got to get up at 7 in the morning and drive to Disney.
I'm with you. I'll find some people to jump in on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Right.
Okay.
Do you know who you'll use, or you have a couple ideas?
Yeah. I mean, there's a pretty big pool of people who I think are happy to jump in. So
that's awesome.
But I just wanted to give you first right of refusal. So
yeah, it bums me out, but I'll be here at post to post in spirit.
Yeah, and then you'll be back because you'll be coming back for the next week, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. So that takes care of that. I'm really sad. I'm glad. So you have it on DVR, SmackDown, correct?
I do. I have it on DVR, and I did watch, because I don't like to go into these things completely clueless. I watched some videos and some recaps from last night, so I do have an idea of what happened. That won't ruin the experience for me at all.
I loved SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was really well done, and I was going to try to save it for the video, but you told me you weren't able to see it. So it's such a sad thing that this is the one you missed, because there's been so many bad SmackDowns.
Right.
But this week I'm firmly in the SmackDown was better than Raw camp, and so I've got a few notes about it. I don't know what all you know, or if you read like a full recap or just saw some snippets. Did you watch Miz and Cena?
I watched Miz and Cena. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw Miz and Cena. I saw Ambrose cut his promo with Baron Corbin. I saw the end of the AJ Luke Harper match and that stuff, and then I saw the very end of the show. So,
okay, the end of the show. Like, did that get spoiled for you beforehand, or did you did you know that he's going to wind up burning the house down?
Unfortunately, when I went to the review, the headline was like, Randy Orton betrays Bray Wyatt. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's okay. I figured it was going to happen. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really well done. And
so, yeah, that segment, my only complaint about it is that it seemed oddly timed. And I may even use the word poorly timed.
Would you use the word rushed? I'd use the word rushed.
Yeah, that's a part of it too. I feel like this would have had a bigger impact in a few weeks.
Like the week before Mania.
Or two. Yeah, it's not what, 1 or 2 weeks after you pledged your allegiance to him and we just got a new number one. Like that, I don't know. I to me, that was dumb. That was bad timing, I should say. But Let me also clarify, loved the segment. executed very well on both of their parts, on Bray's part and on Randy's part. I'm not coming down on the segment. Just would have preferred it in a few weeks. Bray
needs to get credit for the acting he did. He was unbelievable. He ends the show crying, and he doesn't look emasculated for doing so. He looks like just broken, and I'm telling you, you're gonna get a vengeful Bray Wyatt. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, this is totally working for me. I was really happy about that. And again, my only complaint is the timing. I just feel the timing is wrong. Would have held it off a few weeks, but I would have changed nothing else. Very happy with that. Also, Miz's promo with Cena. Man, absolutely. And you know what it was? The only thing it kept reminding me of, and this is not a complaint, it's like the exact same promo Cena cut on The Rock for the WrestleMania feuds.
Yes.
And and when you think about it, in some, well, I don't think I don't have John Cena being gone quite as often as The Rock is, but I see where Miz is coming from.
I do. I love the shoot aspect of all of it. And I love when Cena's like, listen, you act like I pull all the strings. If I pull all the strings, I wouldn't be having a match with you. I'd be fighting The Undertaker. I mean, it really, the two don't like each other. You know, they respect each other. They're working together. They worked through the shoot. It's a worked shoot. I'm not stupid. But when it feels like a shoot, I'm just going to pretend that it is.
Do they not like each other in real life?
Well, I know that Maurice and Nikki Bella truly don't like each other.
I don't think any of the divas like Maurice. I don't think anyone but Miz likes Maurice.
But they were friends for a while, and then all the trash talk, and then I'm embarrassed for even knowing all the Total Diva stuff. But those two really, truly don't like each other.
Dude, I watch Total Divas, and I say it proudly.
Yeah, and so I assume that Miz and Cena are best buds, but
I don't know what their relationship's like, to be honest with you, but I can't imagine it's that bad just because their girlfriends don't like each other.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a rematch, which was actually 3 rematches in one. Becky Lynch and Mickie James. I hope people are seeing what I'm saying. I will try not to harp on this, but now we got 3 rematches in one. Gag me with a spoon.
Yeah. So even with that, you still love SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do with the women? The rosters are broken. And okay, they're not broken. They're just empty. They're shallow. They have a great women's roster, but they don't have enough for 2 great women's rosters. And that's what they're trying to do. They have
5 on Raw and then 5 on SmackDown, and one of them's hurt. So.
And 10 is like the perfect number for for a female wrestler's division.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, they're just screwing themselves with that. And the same can be said for all aspects of this brand extension, but I will stop because this is not a rerun. I'm getting tired of hearing it. I thought the line of the night, I had one personally. One jumped out at me on SmackDown. It went to JBL when this was right after. I hate to go to the Ellsworth well so often, but the commentary is always on point when you talk about Ellsworth. And so I guess next week you're going to have Ellsworth and Carmella versus Nikki Bella and John Cena, to which JBL responds, "That's awesome. Ellsworth in an interspecies match."
From what I saw, I really loved the line that Dean Ambrose had when he was talking about life lessons. He was like, never call a woman sturdy.
Okay, that's good. I like that one too.
I like that too.
I have one more note from the show. You probably didn't see it, but Cruz versus Ziggler was good. Does have that rematch kind of thing all over it, but honestly, this section is getting so bad, not match quality, but just failure to move forward, that we're just stuck in a rut bad, that it might as well have those purple cruiserweight ropes, and that I don't recognize it.
Can't even see it.
I can't even see it. I don't know how else to describe it. It just didn't even happen.
Remember when they split the brands, and it did feel like Ziggler was going to be one of the guys they made?
Yeah, and they did for a minute.
For a minute,
they were right on track with him.
Yeah,
then even still, when they were moving him down to the Intercontinental level, he was still on fire, doing fine.
He's like pre-show stuff now,
dude,
kickoff show.
If you can keep Ziggler even in a very, I guess, visible or contentious spot for the secondary title on whatever show he's on, that's a fine spot for him. Like
that makes sense.
Mr. Perfect never won the world title and was very rarely around it. He was usually in that secondary title run. Same with like Rick Rude, or like there's a lot of guys that's kind of their spot. And I'm not saying Ziggler isn't good enough to be a world champ or wouldn't
like
be
the
believed.
honky tonk man.
Yeah, there's just that's some people's spot, and that's still a cool spot to be in. That's a cool title to have.
It used to be cooler, but yeah, you're right. Because remember, it used to be for a lot of guys the stepping stone.
Right. Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite Rock Triple H matches, and it might have been Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I can't even remember. One of the best matches with those guys. It was for the Intercontinental title, and man, they made it seem like it was important.
Those guys are the hungry ones. They have great matches. Yeah, that's my favorite. It's always been my favorite title is the Intercontinental Championship. So that's what I've got from SmackDown. As we, what do we got? We still got like 20 minutes or so if we need it. We've got predictions this week.
Let's do it. Let's get right to it. I have mine if you have yours, and I've written mine down.
Okay, cool. I've got them on a Word document open here, and you're gonna jot down my answers too.
Right. And what I've noticed, I don't know where you get your card, but I get my card from WWE's page, and usually if you work from the bottom up, you get the order that they're doing the matches.
You want to throw the matches at me then I'll tell you what I think.
I'm sure you have the right order too.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm sure, but I'll give you what I got. Who cares? Right. Who cares about the order anyway? Just as long as we got the results.
Do you have the kickoff show match?
Yeah, I've got Noam Dar and Brian Kendrick taking on Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann.
Yes.
My prediction is I have Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann. And I have a reason. And without giving away too much, I just I was looking at this was one of the ones I filled in last. By the way, you said you filled this one out with ease.
Quickly.
I did not. I had a really tough time this month filling out my predictions.
Well, those are usually good months for me. I remember the month that you thought you had it easily, you got everything wrong on the card. Yeah. So that could be me.
A lot of times they say think long, think wrong. I definitely thought long on these predictions. The only reason I chose Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann, in fact, I really, in the back of my mind, think Dar and Kendrick will win. I don't know why I'm giving it so much thought, but the reason I don't have a whole lot of baby faces going over. I have some, but I don't have a whole lot of faces winning. So I'm choosing the first match to get things off on a happy note, since it really isn't for that much. While I think that Kendrick is still kind of the bread and butter of the division, I feel like they want a babyface win to start the show. Okay.
I have Swann and Tozawa for no other reason than Kendrick's been getting over on Tozawa a lot, and I think that they're going to let him get the win, and then Kendrick will do something stupid.
Okay, so we agree.
Yeah, we agree.
All right. After that, I've got Sasha Banks and Nia Jax.
Yes.
Didn't have an easy time with this one either.
I did.
All right. What do you think?
I think Nia Jax in a big win. I think Nia Jax is getting a monster push.
I've got Nia Jax also. I had Nia Jax at the last show. When did they fight? The Royal Rumble? Yeah, that makes sense. I thought Nia Jax was going to go over. Correct me if I'm wrong. She did not. And I think that two big pay-per-view losses heading into WrestleMania, where I believe she'll be part of a four-way match, would be very detrimental to her.
I don't think they'll have her pin Bayley cleanly on a Raw, only to have her lose to Sasha the next week before WrestleMania.
Yeah. So, and there's some things that sway me from this. Like, I think that the most powerful image of this feud over the past month has been like that submission hold she put on Sasha. I think it was 2 Mondays ago.
Right.
And actually, there was a nice little botch there when the bell rang a little bit early on that match. I don't know if you caught that, but it did. Nevertheless, that is a strong image suggesting that Nia is stronger, and then likewise, you would think Sasha would win the match at the pay-per-view because it looks like Nia went over the night before, kind of thing. But I'm sticking with Nia Jax.
Yeah, I just feel like Jax is going to get it.
All right. Next match I've got is Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And I think that there's no way Joe doesn't walk away with the victory.
There's no way they're letting Samoa Joe lose his first pay-per-view.
Yeah, especially against Sami Zayn.
This is what Sami Zayn's been doing, and he's been doing a very good job of it. He's been making these guys like Strowman and now Joe look really good in these big versus little guy matches or these strong guy matches. He's always fighting uphill, and he fights the good fight, but he doesn't win them. And he's not going to win against Joe.
Yeah, and I feel like I like to think they're thinking of Joe as kind of a hot property, that they're not going to want to come in with a nice little blemish like that.
Yeah, no way. Not going into Mania, not in a program with Triple H and Seth Rollins. They're not. Sami Zayn's not beating Samoa Joe.
It kind of got brought up on the post show. It was I think it was Mike who brought it up. This is kind of becoming the new Roman Reigns thing, in that some people like him and some people, there's just very strong opinions, I'll say, one way or another.
Well, I don't want anyone to think that my opinion of his Cesaro match, which wasn't a very good one, is an indictment on what I think about Joe. So far, I'm still excited about Samoa Joe. I still like what I'm seeing from him. I like the fighting with Zayn, and I'm looking forward to this match. I like Samoa Joe. I'm just saying there was a red flag, just one red flag. It was my first one for him, because I didn't watch him in TNA, and I didn't watch him when he was fighting the Necro Butcher or whatever the hell that mess was that Michael put on Facebook. Oh, my God, that was incredibly nuts. They were in the crowd, and they were fighting with the railing, and I thought someone was going to pull out a gun. Like, it was absolutely madness.
I actually haven't watched that. Should I?
Yes, you need to. Because it's like 3 minutes into the fight, Necro Butcher is bleeding, and I was like, this is going to end soon, and it's a 30-minute match.
That's cool.
So, I didn't watch Joe with all of that, so this is new for me. Cesaro puts on good matches, and it wasn't a good match, and so that was a red flag. But I still like Joe.
I want to clarify my thoughts about Joe as well. I will go as far as to say I don't dislike Joe. My thoughts about Joe are really the same as every other person with the Samoan gimmick, except for Joe gets heralded in a much better way by the internet community that I don't feel he deserves.
Do you know why? I think I figured out why.
Well, just because he does the Ring of Honor stuff, he did the TNA stuff, where all the other Samoans jump right into Starlight at WWE.
Exactly.
He's paying his dues on the indies.
If Umaga had fought Necro Butcher, it would be Umaga. You know what I mean? He's an indie guy, so they're going to love him. I don't want to discredit Joe yet, though. I like Joe.
And again, where I do kind of differ on him in some other ways, opposed to the other Samoans, is I do like his intensity. I like his legitimacy, but I just don't have a Joe match that I love, And
I do, and it's against Necro Butcher.
I was going to say, the Necro Butcher match, I'm not going to say I'm not going to like it. I'm just going to say it doesn't sound like it's going to be, I'm a Bret Hart kind of guy. I like a good psychology and a good story to be told, that human chess match kind of thing. I'm going to watch the Necro Butcher match. I'm just not sure it's what I like out of wrestling.
It's going to turn your stomach. Dude, in college, I bought a VHS tape at an ECW show in Altoona at the Jaffa Mosque, and it was like a Japanese deathmatch tournament, and Mick Foley was in it.
I have that too.
Cactus Jack and Terry Funk's in it. There's a Leatherface. There's a Bed of Nails match. There's Taipei death matches. It's absolutely. It was one of the most gruesome things I'd watched, and I loved it. And then I watched this Necro Butcher thing, and I was like, first of all, they take Luke Harper's cousin, who's selling heroin behind the building, and they give him a match against Samoa Joe.
Right. I'll watch it. I want to see what you guys are talking about.
Anyway, okay, we're moving on. But that was nuts.
Thanks for sharing that, Mike, and hope that clarified a little bit as to how we feel about Samoa Joe. We do disagree, but maybe not as much as you think. Let's talk about. Okay, next I have Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Okay,
you're missing 2 mid-card matches. You're going right to the main event types.
Okay, well, what do you got?
Well, what about Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass?
Again, that's not the order I have, but that makes sense. Okay, so Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass. I have Gallows and Anderson.
This is the only one that gave me fits.
This one?
This one gave me fits. I had a hard time. I ended up going with Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, I have Gallows and Anderson too, but this one was one of the few I didn't have to think about.
I think it gave me such a hard time, but I think what swayed me at the end was I feel that Enzo and Cass are going to be feel-good tag champs at WrestleMania.
That's what I was going to say. If Enzo and Cass are going to win the straps, they're going to do it at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But you could say the same exact thing about Bayley, and she didn't.
Right. Well, but that was my logic. So far, we're 4 for 4 with each other.
All right, well, then you take over with your match order.
Next, I have Neville and Gallagher.
Okay. This one I also didn't think too much about. I'm going with Neville.
I'm going with Neville. I want Gallagher to win it, but do you think there's any room to take it off of Neville yet? He's a monster in Cruiserweight.
It's again, I feel like while he is becoming a monster heel in that division, I feel like that uncrowning moment will happen at WrestleMania, where it doesn't even matter who, the crowd's going to be so anxious to see anyone beat him that will be the feel-good moment.
But the way that I'm booking Mania in my head right now, I have every title changing hands, and you know that's not going to happen either.
It could. It also sounds like we have a lot of baby faces going over too, but you know, who knows?
Right.
We'll get to, again, this WrestleMania still has so much shape to take. You know, there's still a lot we can do. You know, like last year, like at the Royal Rumble time, we thought we knew everything that was, you know, where it was going, and we did. This year, I still feel like there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, big win. And
correct me if I'm wrong. So far, we have no disagreements.
No disagreements, and I'm feeling like we're not going to have any.
It's okay.
But while for the Elimination Chamber, when we didn't have any disagreements, we expected it to be a bad show and weren't excited for it. I'm excited for this show, and I think this is a very good show, and it benefits from the fact that it has more than a week and a half to hype it after the Rumble.
I feel like the hype's been good. I wouldn't say I'm very excited for it, but I would say I'm 7 out of 10. Yeah.
I have higher than usual expectations for what would normally be a Fastlane pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, if we're comparing it to previous Fastlanes, I would say I'm a bit more excited. So what do we have next? We have 3 more matches. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, now we're in your order. It's Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman.
All right. I have one. Well, I technically have 3 words written down, but my overwhelming.
I have 2.
My overwhelming thought is it's going to be a schmaz. And I don't have a particular person winning, but if it's, you know, since we can make a prediction, my prediction is schmaz, but if someone does win, this one was not easy for me. I'm going to go Roman.
You think Roman's going to beat Strowman?
I think it'll be a schmaz, but if there's a winner, it will be Roman.
I wrote down 2 words. Strowman, Undertaker. I feel like this is where we see the Undertaker. Finally, Steve is going to be right, and it's going to be an Undertaker Roman Reigns type WrestleMania thing. And I think Strowman is going to end up winning. They're not going to let him lose. Not yet.
Okay, so you think schmaz, but Strowman.
I do think schmaz, but I think Braun Strowman's going to get the win, or at the very least come out looking super strong. But if I have to pick a winner, I'm going to pick Braun Strowman.
Okay, well, that's cool, because I say, so you say schmaz but Strowman, and I say schmaz but Roman. Do
you agree of the same sort of schmaz? Do you think the dead man's showing up?
It's very possible. While it does seem like they are probably going to go with Roman and Undertaker, I want to complain about one thing. Okay. If Steve's logic is correct, which it certainly could be, I think that's lousy, and I'll say why. If the Undertaker's beef with Roman Reigns is that he eliminated him in the Royal Rumble, if that's solely what this is based on, a month ago, more than a month ago, 5 weeks ago, that is lazy ass writing, if I can say so myself. Do you
Get
agree?
Over it. Yeah, I do.
That's not enough for me. And that's almost as bad as like it was with previous years. It's like, I'm Undertaker, who wants me kind of thing. I hate that. And then that's just eliminated you 5 weeks ago from the Royal Rumble. You know, suck it.
If you're going to use that as your motivation for anger, then I better hear the gong chime the Monday after the Rumble.
And
okay?
Even still, you're absolutely right about that. But even still, I think that's lazy.
It is, but it's not as absurd as waiting 5 weeks and then doing it.
Yeah, so I will have a problem with that personally.
I was mad at you at the Rumble, but I'm contractually obligated to show up 6 times a year, and so I waited until now.
So that's the way I feel. Plus, we need one of them to be a heel, I feel like. That's the way I feel. Do you think it can be face versus face when it comes to Taker and Roman? If that's the way they go?
Listen, they can say it's face versus face, but one of them's going to get booed.
See, that's the thing. Like, let's just pull the trigger, even though it is a year too late. Whatever. You know, the Roman thing is another conversation we've had a million times. Turning Roman heel. We've talked about it ad nauseum.
I wonder if they're not turning him heel for the same reason they don't turn John Cena heel. Like, there are a lot of kids that buy his stuff. Like,
you can put anyone in that. Like, yes, Cena's something special, but you could make another Roman Reigns. You kidding me?
Without a doubt. So
let's be serious here.
Be serious.
What else?
Okay.
What's next? I have a women's title match and a universal title match.
Go for it.
You want to do women's title?
Yeah, let's do women, and I'll give you mine because you've been giving me yours first.
Really, really, really tough decision here. Really tough decision here because you have. Really? You think easy?
Easy peasy. 1, 2, 3, easy.
Okay. Well, here, let me throw my thoughts at you, and then you can tell me if you agree with me.
Okay.
So you've got this one thing on one hand, with Bayley winning the women's title on a Raw after the Royal Rumble, which just seems very oddly timed, especially if you're going to give it right back to Charlotte. That's the first thing. The second thing is you've got this. This is a word I'm starting to hate when it comes to wrestling, but you've got this stupid streak now with Charlotte not losing on pay-per-views.
And they've made it a thing. It is a thing.
It's become a thing over the past month or two. Excuse me. So my question I had to ask myself is, which are they more concerned with? The value of the women's title and how watered down it's becoming with these frequent changes, or their commitment to Charlotte's streak? Would you agree that's kind of what this comes down to?
It's what it boils down to for me. That was my decision making. And they also mentioned on Raw that Charlotte is undefeated in title matches where she's fighting to win the championship from someone.
I didn't catch that. But okay. I caught it when you said it. I didn't catch it when they said it on Raw. She's
a 4-time champion.
Well, and then other people are talking about her maybe getting her dad's record at some point soon, which is so stupid because the title reigns are so short and meaningless at this point. But
the way they're dropping the belt back and forth on Raw, she could have it by Money in the Bank.
I know. And that's why this is absurd. But as absurd as that is, I think she's going to win. You do too.
Yeah, I do. I wrote down Charlotte easily. She's going to win. She wins pay-per-views. She's going into WrestleMania with the strap. Does that streak get broken at Mania? Probably. Do they then give Bayley her moment again at Mania? I guess. Listen, it made no sense to me when they did it with Sasha. They give it to Sasha on a Raw, and then they take it off her, and they give it back to her, and then they take it off her again. And I know they thought maybe there'd be an injury, but it was nonsense. If we're right, Charlotte will be, to quote Booker T, five-time champ. Nuts. It's crazy, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't have as much confidence as you do, but I do. So far, all we disagree on is technically the schmaz.
Reigns and Strowman, yeah.
All right. That's fine, whatever, because I think we're probably going to agree heading into the main event.
This one was hard for me, too, a little bit. I'll admit it.
Interesting, because I agree, although I didn't have a hard time this morning because I already settled on my choice. I committed to it this morning, so I didn't debate it this morning is what I'm trying to say. We got 5 minutes, if that. So here's what I got. I'm going to do it the same way I did the women's title match. You got one thing on one hand and one thing on another hand. So here's what I've got. On one hand, you've got what really feels like the logical booking of Goldberg and Lesnar at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. We agree that that's on one hand?
Yes.
And then on the other hand, you have the work of the past few weeks with this feud, Owens and Goldberg. I feel like they've given you a whole lot of hints that Goldberg is going to win, which by normal wrestling standards would mean that Goldberg is not going to win.
Right.
So you have to factor these things in, and that's what I'm weighing on my scales of justice right now. And the one I'm going with this time is the logical booking, which I always wind up regretting, but I'm going with it, and I'm picking Goldberg to win the title on Sunday.
This was tough for me because Goldberg laid out his plan, which is, spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. And then you've got Owens lays out his plan, and it sounds so calculated and cerebral and brilliant. I'm going to make you go. I'm going to make you go for a while. I'm going to avoid you. The longer this goes, the worse it is for Goldberg. We know this. I really like Owens in this fight. And I think Owens is a guy that can make Goldberg look really good. And this will be a stiff, fun fight. The one thing that I can't get out of my head is that Chris Jericho is the United States champion. That's why I picked Goldberg to win it. Because they're not going to take 2 belts and have those guys fight each other at WrestleMania when they can have 2 championship matches. So
Agreed.
I think that Jericho's getting involved. I think Jericho's showing up, and we're going to have, if we don't have a Jericho moment, I'm going to be bummed out because I think Jericho is going to come back with fury against Owens. I think Goldberg wins it, and I think you're going to get Goldberg-Lesnar for the Universal, and then you're going to have Owens and Jericho for a very highly contested United States Championship match at WrestleMania, and I'll be excited for both of them.
Agreed. So the only thing we technically disagree on is really a technicality as to who gets the W in that Roman-Strowman fight.
Which just pretty much guarantees that this whole list is going to be completely wrong.
But you know what? If we genuinely agree on stuff, we genuinely agree. And how intense will this make that Roman-Strowman fight for us personally?
It's a big death match, man.
Yeah.
It all comes down to that.
I was kind of interested going into it already, and then you have the Belt of Destiny or the Lock of Destiny being really on the line in that match. And if there's no winner, I mean, technically you retain, I guess, because you won SmackDown's Elimination Chamber, didn't you?
Right. It's the Necro Butcher Samoa Joe Lock of Destiny. I want to name it after the Necro Butcher.
All right, awesome. Hey, let me sign out so I can get out of the studio here. And unless you have anything you want to throw in there real quickly.
I care about you, and I'll miss you next week. Have fun with whoever you choose.
This was the show we were supposed to get together for, and you decided you weren't able to make it this time. But I'm excited to see you in April, and I hope you have a great time with your family in Florida. And I hope that Roman technically gets the W on. Actually, personally, I want Strowman to get the victory, but for the Lock of Destiny's purposes, I wouldn't mind if Roman got the W.
I've never been a bigger Strowman fan in my life.
For myself, the Rob, my tag team partner, vacationing Jerry Valeri, we will see you. I guess I'll see you on Monday with mystery guests. Jerry will see you the following Tuesday on Post to Post.
You should do the podcast with the Necro Butcher.